Alright, you guys, get in here because boy do I have a story to tell you of how I went from Jules Kounde, be very careful in this match, to Jules Kounde, the man that you are, because Barcelona have just beat Eintracht Frankfurt, and that comes on the back of a second half brace by Jules Kounde. But first, in case you're just seeing my video for the first time or you've been watching without subscribing, hi guys, I am Just Max, and on this channel I talk about football, La Liga, Barca, UCL and the lot. If this is something that you're interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie, and of course I'm a colleague, so please stick around, subscribe, hit the like button, do all the things. I would love to grow this channel with you, and I definitely would love to talk football with you. But I'm so excited because Barcelona has bounced back in the UCL. After that loss to Chelsea the last time out, we have now come alive. We've beat Eintracht Frankfurt 2-1 at home, and it came on the back of Jules Kounde. This is something I have never expected to say in a sentence. Jules Kounde, a brace, a second half brace, and the UCL. He's a right back, for God's sake. What is happening? But that's the thing I love about this team. The goals do be coming from anywhere. But before I get ahead of myself, we need to take a look at the lineup that Hansi Flick put together, because boy, what a game we have just seen. In goal it was Joan Garcia, who is normal, steady. We've come to expect this. Although we do see that Ter Stegen has, gotten his medical green light, but as Hansi Flick had already said, Joan Garcia will always remain our number one, which I live for. I stand by that statement. Jules Kounde comes in at the right back position, and boy did he have a game. He had a really good game today. Pau Kubasi and Gerard Martin in center back, while Alejandro Balde came in that left back position. Eric Garcia and Pedri were the midfield pivot, while Fermin Lopez acted as the 10. And then it was Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, and Rafinha who rounded up Barcelona's attack. And when I tell you that we started out that first half, it was really good, in my opinion. I felt like we controlled the game. We put Eintracht Frankfurt on the back burner. We had their number. We were pressing them. We had them pegged back. But the difference today, I felt like, is that Eintracht Frankfurt decided that it was today of all days, today when Barcelona needs a win, today when Barcelona cannot afford to drop any more points in the UCL if we intend to progress to the next level. It was today that they decided they wanted to have their best defensive performance in the game, because there was opportunities that Barcelona kept pressing, but they kept their shape. In fact, at some point too, they were catching Barcelona offside, because Robert Lewandowski did have the ball in the back of the net very early, but unfortunately Rafinha had timed his run a little bit too early, and so the ball was ruled out for offside. But it just gave us a sense of what Barcelona could do in a split second, and I think from a footballing perspective, it kind of woke up Eintracht Frankfurt in the way that they were planning to defend it, because Rafinha had just had one ball, he breaks their line, and then he squares it into the middle. Robert Lewandowski has a foot to it, it's in the roof of the net, and they really realized, okay, we cannot be caught sleeping. We have to actually be on our P's and Q's, and so they really held their shape. And the good thing about them, I felt, was like, even the fact that they were defending, they always carry that thread, because one thing for certain, two things for sure, Barcelona is going to give you, opportunities going forward. They always maintain that very high line position. So if you can time your runs very well, or relieve pressure just at the right moment and put a ball over to the top with the guy who is standing on the line, definitely you're going to be able to catch Barcelona sleeping. Or this is something that Eintracht Frankfurt did. They had the one opportunity in the first half and they made it count. I think it was Pedri who was trying to cut out that ball that came through over the top. He absolutely misses it, and then the Eintracht Frankfurt player Knopf, he just basically kept his composure to put the goal. It was very well worked. It was a very well struck goal, well past Joan Garcia. Now, I will be honest with you, I am a Joan Garcia stan, but I did think that he should have done better. He just kind of crept under his armpit. So there is the question to be asked about, could he have gotten down a bit quicker? Should he have saved that ball? I felt like he could have saved that ball, but let me know what you think about that situation in the comment section. But moving on from then, again, it was more of Barcelona trying to be move forward. But at this point of the game, Eintracht Frankfurt were putting on a very good defensive masterclass. I did not think that Barcelona created enough in that first half to trouble them at all. If at all, the goalkeeper from Eintracht Frankfurt barely had any kind of saves to make, which kind of made me nervous. One of the things that we see from Barcelona this season is they do have a penchant from going down early, or maybe conceding the first goal in the match. But one thing I know is that they're going to always try and put together a comeback, especially if you give them opportunities. But where I started to get nervous in this game was how well organized that Frankfurt were, and the few chances that Barcelona were seeing in that game. The second half, though, we did have a sublime performance from Marcus Rashford, who came in for Fermin Lopez. Now, I said this over the weekend when I talked about Barcelona's game against Real Betis. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I do be dropping nuggets, I swear. I said it then. I said there's a reason why Hansi Flick is the coach of FC Barcelona, and I'm just a chick on YouTube who talks about football. Is because like he sees things that I don't see. Like, in that moment, would I have said Fermin Lopez was the sacrificial lamb? Absolutely not. Would I have said Marcus Rashford was the one to bring on to turn things around for FC Barcelona? Absolutely not. But Hansi Flick, he knows his onion. He knows the artillery in his, he knows the weapons he has. So I don't know. I'm trying to make analogies and none is still coming together. If you have one, put it in the comment section for me. But Hansi Flick knows his cutlery. If he was a chef, he knows the things that he has in stock, and then he brings on Marcus Rashford for Fermin Lopez, and immediately we had a different shape to Barcelona's attack. It was Rafinha who then goes inward, playing as a 10, while Marcus Rashford comes in on the left-hand position. Starting the second half, Barcelona had not started out very well at all. Eintracht Frankfurt had opportunities to make it a second in the second half. Within the first, I want to say 3 minutes of the second half, they really put Barcelona under pressure. And even there was that one instance where Jules Kounde had gone ahead to make a bad pass to Joan Garcia. It was a bad back header. He didn't judge it quite nicely. It almost played in Eintracht Frankfurt for a second, but thankfully Joan Garcia was able to deal with it, and we were able to take a rebreather. Within 5 minutes of the restart of the second half, Marcus Rashford puts a ball into the middle of the box, who finds Jules Kounde, who is, by the way, I think unmarked by the Eintracht Frankfurt defenders. Now, the first time that this happened, I said, I don't blame them. When people are making runs into the box, you're looking for Lamine Yamal, you're looking for Robert Lewandowski, you're looking to pick up Rafinha. These are the people that carry the attacking threat for Barcelona. Never in a million years would you say, okay, let me track the run of Jules Kounde, who is a defender by trade, so I can understand. Although in a footballing wise, it kind of makes sense that you want to track every run. They didn't do this the first time at all. They weren't picking up Jules Kounde. He makes that run. The ball from Marcus Rashford was so sublime. It was very well done. Jules Kounde has a very good header, and it's 1-1 to Barcelona. And at that moment, I could breathe a sigh of relief. Like I said at the start of this game, I was stressed. Because we needed to win this game. Now, before we were able to blink, Barcelona would double their lead. And this is kind of one of the things that I live for about being, this Barcelona team, is that once it rains, it does pour, and it came from the most unlikely source. Jules Kounde, once again, in the right place, in the right, in the box for another header. This time it comes off a cross from Lamine Yamal. And this time you have to hold the Eintracht Frankfurt players with, a bit of a napkin in our hands. And I'll say to them, they can only hold themselves to blame in this one. Reason being, the ball took so long. And Jules Kounde had already done the first header. You could tell that he was hot. He was like the go-to man at this point. You could see that, if you say, there's this saying that I like to quote, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It's basically what I would say this system. Like, the fact that they were not able to defend Jules Kounde better for a second. And, I'm going to give them some grace because, like I said in my intro, Jules Kounde, a brace, a UCL. 3 things I never expected to say in a sentence. So probably that was the same thing that Eintracht Frankfurt players were also thinking, because they never expected it. It just came out of nowhere for them. But Jules Kounde puts Barcelona ahead within 3 minutes, and it's like the complexions of things just change. 1 minute you're flying high, next minute you're 2-1 down to Barcelona. And another thing I want to mention is that even though it did end up ending at 2-1, Barcelona did have opportunities to add a third and a fourth. In fact, there was this opportunity where it was, I want to say, Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford, sorry, who was running like they had broken the Frankfurt defense, and they were just really, Lewandowski just didn't have the pace for it. And honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought that would have been a very, very good way to crown it out. That way we can enjoy the rest of the game without, wondering if Eintracht Frankfurt had a comeback in them. But that miss just showed us how old Lewandowski was, because I know that the Lewandowski of 2 years ago would definitely have struck that ball. He didn't have the pace for it. He ended up being caught out by the defender, passes the ball to Marcus Rashford, and then the defender puts in a sensational block. And that's one of the ways that Barcelona were not able to score on them. But that was the cleanest opportunity. Throughout the rest of the game, I kept on saying, oh, it should have been three. And honestly, that goal that we did not score in that minute, it hurt my soul. But let me know what you thought about that sequence of play as well. We did end up getting to see the man of the moment, Ferran Torres, who comes in into the game for Robert Lewandowski. He did also have opportunities of his own. He did not end up scoring in this game, but I felt like it was a good cameo from him as well. Andreas Christensen, we haven't seen him quite often this season. He did also come in. Frankie de Jong came in. I thought he did a good job in the way he was able to stabilize that midfield and control it. I don't think that Pedri particularly had a good game today, but I'm not going to harp on Pedri only because he's been so consistent for over a year now. He's due a bad game at some point. It's just unfortunate that I feel like his bad game came in a game that we absolutely needed to win. We did end up seeing Lamine Yamal going off of the pitch, and then it was Rooney Baghdadi who came on for him, a very brief cameo towards the end. Lamine Yamal did not like being subbed, but honestly, at this point, I was thinking that Hansi Flick was doing substitution to kind of manage the game a little bit better, especially with the lessons that we learned from Club Brugge and, of course, PSG and Inter Milan. In a must-win game for us, it just wasted a little bit of time, so I understood the rationale there. Barcelona did end up winning the game, though. It was 2-1 for Barcelona. We take all 3 points in a game that we needed to win, and I live for it. And the addition is Chelsea lost to Atlanta, and that's on war. Period. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section. Who was your best player today? Today I thought that they were all evenly good, but the surprise of the moment for me was Jules Kounde. Like I said, a brace, a UCL, and Jules Kounde. 3 things I never expected to say in a sentence, but here we are, and we are still alive in this competition, and that's on what. Period.